my dad at the time, he was a builder. He said, why don't we set up our own management agency? In 2016, my dad passed away. We didn't know what we was going to do with the property.
When you first joined and you were just like, what do I do with my portfolio, man?
So we bought it for 146k. We got it valued and it's 425.
What are some of the challenges that you face with tenants?
We came to evict her. She actually handed the keys broken in half.
What's your rent roll then?
300k.
How does it feel to have never really had a real job?
Yeah.
Well, Tom, welcome to Winners on a Wednesday. Good to have you, brother.
Thank you.
You've got a bit of an interesting story because you are a property millionaire. How old are you now? 29?
29.
What's your portfolio worth right now?
It's over £1 million.
Over £1 million.
Yeah.
And most of the properties are located where?
North London, North East London.
So talk to me about the beginning, about how did you get into the world of property?
As soon as I left school, I went and worked in an estate agency, started doing it as a Saturday job. Then whilst I was at sixth form, started again working 2-3 days a week. Worked there for a couple of years, learnt how it all worked, the letting side, the management side. The manager wanted me to work on another patch, so I went and worked in Brentwood for him. It got a bit boring, a bit stale. Didn't really know where I was going to go from there. So my dad at the time, he was a builder, building a small portfolio up himself. He said, well, look, why don't we set up our own management agency and you can manage the properties through there. I've got clients, I've got landlords who are looking and we can poach them, we can manage their properties for them. He had a shop at the time that was coming available. It was a carpet shop. He was like, we can turn it into an estate agency, get a shop on the main high street in Walthamstow and go from there. So yeah, literally.
So you started out as an letting agent, estate agent, worked with your dad on property management, and then you just started making money, dumping that into property.
Yes. So the first deal that I bought was through when I was working at my first letting agency. There was a guy that came in and it was a property that weren't great. It was just average, but he just wanted to sell it. So that was my first buy-to-let that I bought.
How much you pay for it?
It was 102,000.
What's it worth now?
Well, I sold it about 3 or 4 years later. So what I did actually, I bought it on a residential mortgage.
Yes.
Got consent to let.
Right.
Rented it out.
People don't know any of this stuff, by the way. No one knows this.
I didn't really at the time.
Yeah.
It was just because my circumstance, I didn't want to live in it. I wanted to rent it out. So instead of moving it to a buy-to-let mortgage, I just got consent to let.
Right.
Moved back in with my parents, rented it back out.
Put down a tiny deposit probably.
My company, my management agency was managing it. So
how much deposit did you put down?
I think it was 10%.
So you put down about 10 grand?
Yeah, 10 grand.
And then how much did you sell it for?
Sold it for 125.
Okay, so not a big jump.
It was only a 1-bed flat. Didn't need much doing to it. All we did was put new boiler, new kitchen in.
But still 25 grand, I mean, people will make that in a year.
Yeah.
And you did that on one little flip.
Yeah, pretty much like trebled my money. I rented it out for 900
Oh, that's
quid.
true, because you only put down 10 grand, so now you sold it. Yeah.
The capital gains tax at the time was like 12.5 grand relief you get or something around that.
Yeah.
Now it's like...
Well, if it was a residential property, potentially zero.
Yeah, but I had to put it through as a tax return. So
Right.
the income,
Right.
you have to claim it and then you have to pay the capital gains tax on it.
Talk about how we met, because when we met, you'd already built up a portfolio.
Yep.
So what was the reason that you enrolled onto the academy and wanted me to become your mentor when you already had a big portfolio?
In 2016, my dad passed away. He was sort of my mentor. He was sort of teaching me how property works. It was there, me and him, company, so on, so on. He passed away in 2016 and we sort of didn't know what we was going to do with the properties, how to structure and move forward.
Because you built some of them with your dad, you got a trust, and it was all complicated.
My mum, so it was very complex. And the solicitors and accountants were telling us and advising us, but they would never actually say, yeah, do this.
No, yeah, of course they won't.
Do that.
Yeah.
So I think, I saw you online and it messaged you on Instagram. I said, look, this is my situation. It's a bit different. Can I meet up? So came around your house.
You'll say to an accountant, what would you do
Yeah.
if you were me in this situation?
Yeah,
And they'll just be like, we can't say.
I can only advise, is what they say. I can only
I can
advise.
only advise the different options. You have to make the call. Well, what's the most sensible? Mr. Solicitor, what's going to leave me with the most money in my pocket?
Exactly.
Wow. They're so regulated and they're so cautious and they're so different to what a mentor is. And they're very, very expensive.
Yeah.
So you're probably paying a fortune to these guys.
Yeah, we did. We did.
Did the academy seem cheap to you or did it seem really expensive? Because a lot of people, when they join the academy, they've got nothing when they start.
No. It is for what you get. And the fact that you can just go to it anytime, like the online portal, the videos, like if you're lost or whatever, or even the network in itself. Like I've been part of like BNI, for instance, like growing the agency, and like you'd pay like 2-3 grand for that, and it'll be 6 o'clock every morning, straight away, do your 30 seconds. You know what I mean? Same old, same faces. You don't get to meet new people up and down the country. You know what I mean? Whereas the academy, there's people from all different backgrounds, all different journeys of their.
I remember sitting down with, I think it was me, you, and Elliot.
Yeah.
When you first joined, and you were just like, "What do I do with my portfolio, man? I've bought these houses. My dad's passed. We've got this, got this." What happened in that meeting?
Just clarity, really. Just clarity on everything.
Because I'll tell you straight, this is what you should do.
Yeah.
Do this, don't do that.
Literally, I bought all spreadsheets, I bought everything, and I said, "Look, what should I do? I know what I feel like I should do, but I just need that, behind you, just say, yeah, you're doing right. This is what you should do."
What was the issue as well? There was an issue with the trust as well that your dad had set up.
The guy who set up the trust put his name down as a beneficiary of the trust, which was a bit weird, a bit strange. Solicitors were like, this is not right. So we had to go to the High Court, pay like 10 grand, I think it was, in fees just to go to the court to get it overturned. And then everything went to my mum.
Inheritance tax?
There was no inheritance tax payable at the time.
Why is that?
Because you get, I think, 650 grand relief.
And also if it's through a trust anyway.
As a spouse, yeah.
If it's through a trust, you shouldn't pay inheritance anyway.
So if my mum passes away, then obviously there'll be inheritance tax payable. But
so you're restructuring your portfolio. You're still restructuring your portfolio because it's a big process.
Yeah, it takes time.
If you've bought properties in a personal name, is there a way to transfer them to a company?
Yeah, there is a couple of ways that you can do it. It's only been a recent thing. It's like you can create an LLP,
right,
and put the property in the LLP.
What's an LLP?
Limited partnership.
Okay.
I don't know how it works entirely, but what I've been told, and it's only been like a couple of people that have done it and got away with it successfully.
So listen with caution.
Yeah. So basically, you put the property in LLP. You can't really touch it for 3 years. And you have to prove to HMRC that you work on your properties for more than 24 hours a week, I think it is, or 20 hours a week. So it's a very long-winded process.
Damn, I'd rather just pay the stamp duty, man.
Yeah.
This sounds like a nightmare.
Whilst I'm still young.
It's easy to do, though. If you own a property with a partner, it's then pretty straightforward, but it's a complex thing, and it's very case by case. Yeah. But this is all the kind of complex stuff that you needed to study.
Yeah, I needed to learn. I needed to know how to do it.
Have you learned a lot about tax last year?
Yeah, a lot.
Interest rates, tax, mortgages, finance.
Yeah, literally, especially like the last year, like with the rates going up and down, and the stress rates as well. People don't realise that the stress rating goes up when the base rate goes up. Lending criteria changes. Mortgage brokers, lenders are not quite forgiving with their money, shall we say. So they're more restrictive because they don't know if the rate's going to go up or down.
What does an average day look like for you? Do you just live off of the income that you make from properties?
Pretty much, yeah.
So you don't have a job?
No, this is my job.
So you just, what do you do?
I manage the properties that our family owns, friends as well, a couple of friends' family. And been doing that for 10 odd years now. So
how does it feel to have never really had a real job?
Yeah. See, people.
Your partner's laughing in the background now. She's thinking, I know. You tell him, Samuel, he don't do nothing.
Yeah. No, people think that I don't work.
Do people think you're lazy?
Yeah. They, people who see it from the outside, they don't actually see what goes on. There's always something going on. You know what I mean? I'm not just sitting at home relaxing, you know what I mean?
Kind of are sometimes, maybe.
Yeah, on the golf course, a couple of times. So,
do you go golf twice a week?
I try to, but
does money make you happy?
Yeah, you got to find stuff that does make you happy, makes you active. I mean, I like golf, don't get me wrong, but another reason why I did join golf was because of networking. So the people that play during the week are the guys that run their own businesses. Yeah. That are semi-retired, that can afford to take 4 hours off to play around the golf. And I'm playing with these guys. I'm friends with these guys now. I've gone on holidays with them, and I pick their brains about all the different businesses that they're in, how they run their businesses, what struggles they've had, and stuff like that. And you get to learn. And everyone's got property as well up there. Yeah. Like some have got car businesses or they're stockbrokers or stuff, but everyone has got property.
The property is always the common link amongst rich people.
Exactly.
Everyone's in property.
It's the environment, like you say, the environment. As long as you're in that environment and you're there with winners. You're there with people who've done it. You can get advice, rub shoulders with them, and learn and take stuff in.
Why did your brother join the academy recently?
Yes, but I told him what to do. I advised him what to do. But yeah, he sort of made that decision himself, just purely because, like my friends and family, I don't want to teach them about property myself. I don't want to force them to get into property. I want them to make their own decisions in life. So I said to him, look, I don't want to tell you what to do because I'm not a very good explainer. I'm not very good with my words, and I've already learned everything my way in my head. So trying to say it and teach it back, I can't do that. So if you want to learn and get into property, go with Samuel, because you've got everything that you need to do from the very start to the very end, no matter what you wanted to get into. So he's joined the academy. He's got 2 rent-to-rents now, rents to SA. So
nice.
Yeah, so
he's doing well.
He's loving it. Yeah,
he's doing well. What are some of the challenges that you face with tenants?
We've been quite lucky with the way that we have, but you do get some problem tenants. We had like a housing DSS tenant, went through the council to house the tenant. Been there for probably about 5-6 years, no problem at all. And this was when the council would pay the tenant and the tenant would then pay you.
Risky.
Yeah. So a lot of it's all changed recently.
Yeah.
And you just get the money straight from the council.
Which is how it used to be back in the day when I first started investing. It used to be you get paid straight from the council, then they changed it.
Yeah.
And now they're changing it back because landlords ain't having it.
Yeah. So it was like that for a couple of years. No problem whatsoever with the tenant. However, the benefit payments stopped.
Mm-hmm.
So we was like, okay, what's going on? Contact the council. What's going on? Why have you stopped the payments? They were like, you need to speak to your tenant. Spoke to the tenant, like, what's going on? Still like, don't know what's going on. Still haven't had payment. We found out eventually the council said that she got caught benefit frauding. So she had a job over the Christmas period.
Oh, man.
So they stopped her payments. Rent wasn't being paid. We then had to go to court, evict her. I think we actually got the eviction on Boxing Day as well.
Ooh.
Like, we didn't do that. Like, the courts gave us the
You
dates.
are one of those bastard landlords. But then she was getting a job and benefits and not paying her rent.
Yeah. So we went in there the week before, actually, or like the month before. And the property was completely fine. But then on the day that we came to evict her, she actually trashed the place, threw all food from the fridge, all on the walls, ripped the carpets up, burnt the worktops. Like,
I hope you kept her deposit.
Well, yeah, we had the deposit and that's about it, because there's not much you can gain from a DSS tenant.
Because she's so angry that you won't let her live rent-free in your property.
Yeah. So sort of seen it all.
What did you give her? What kind of notice? Was it like a Section 21, a Section 8, Section 21?
Yeah, Section 21.
So how does that work? How does Section 21 work?
So you give the notice in.
After how long when they don't pay their rent?
Yeah, 2 months.
So you've got to wait 2 months for them to be behind on rent.
Mm-hmm.
Because people think that landlords will just put, oh, you're a day behind. Out you go. No. You wait 2 months.
Yep.
Then after 2 months, you serve Section 21.
Mm-hmm.
Then what happens?
Then if they don't respond within, I think it's 14 days, you then have to apply for a court order.
And it has to go to court.
It has to go to
You
court.
can't just go, oh, look, they're late and get the bailiffs out.
Yeah.
Has to go through the court.
Yep.
So your court case was Boxing Day.
It was the court case was actually before Christmas, but then they gave the eviction date for Boxing Day.
And that's when the bailiffs can go in.
Yeah.
Did you get the bailiffs in?
Well, we didn't need to. She gave them up. Well, she actually handed the keys broken in half to us, literally in the palm.
What do you think creates this us versus them, landlords versus tenants narrative?
I don't know. People just think that people are out there to make money at your expense, or greedy money grabbers.
Are you greedy?
No, not at all.
Money grabber?
If you actually knew me, I'm pretty sure if you asked 80% of my tenants, that they'll all give amazing reviews about me, and they all know me. They know my family, they know everything. They know us for a long time.
It's just tenants that think that it's okay to not pay rent.
Yeah.
And to try and defraud the government and benefit system.
Yeah. That
get angry.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. People's circumstances change. Like, we get tenants. One person said, their dog died, so they needed to pay like a very large vet bill. So the rent might be a bit late for the next month.
Yeah.
I'm like, cool, no worries.
Thanks for letting me know.
Thanks for letting me know, so we could pre-plan. Just, can you pay at earliest convenience? And then they'll send me a text message and be like, paid it.
And that's just called being a decent human being.
Yeah.
I mean, some landlords...
It's communication.
Question, what would you say if the tenant wanted to redecorate?
It depends. If I recently redecorated it, then no. Because we like to keep it how it is.
Dude.
But if they've been in there long term or they want to like just do one wall or whatever.
What about they want to put pictures up, put holes in the walls?
Yeah, I'm not. I'm okay with that because it's just
aren't you kind?
Holes are you can fix holes.
Well, because some landlords though are really bad like that. They won't let them do anything.
Don't get me wrong. If you've spent like 30k on you got a new kitchen, new bathroom, you just painted it all. You spent 30k on doing it up or whatever. Last thing you want is a new tenant coming in a month later going, oh, can I paint the bedroom blue? And can we do this and do that? I'm like, well, not really. Can we just appreciate it for what it is? You know what I mean? And then, if you're there a long time, then you can.
What about landlords that do this? Because this is a big one. Landlords that, when their tenant improves the property, slab the garden up, for instance, and the garden was terrible before, or they make something better. There's an old fireplace and they get a new one, and then they move out, and then the landlord goes, "Oi, I liked the old one. No deposit back for you." What do you think about that?
Yeah, it's wrong.
It's a bit bad. I can imagine. I can imagine though. You'd say, "But I liked that old fireplace."
Yeah.
But then, if you're going to keep the deposit because you don't like the fact they changed the fireplace, then you have to put the old fireplace back.
Yeah,
that's the rule.
Yeah.
Or you have to take the slabs off the garden.
Yeah.
I'm
fairly easygoing.
What's your rent roll then, per year or per month?
Yeah. So collectively, all of us as a family, we get about 300k in rent.
Oh wow!
So yes, it's quite a lot.
A year, right?
A year, yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, 300k. So yes, I can see why you don't need a job.
Yeah.
What would you say if you had a son and they wanted to get into property? Your dad helped you and mentored you. What advice would you give your son for getting into the property market?
First of all, I'd want them to do it off their own back. Like say to them that they wanted to do it rather than me pushing them and saying you need to do property because you can't live, like so and so on. So I'd want them to be interested in it and then just teach them it from the get-go, because there's so many different avenues of property that you can get into. I think there was like a 16-year-old kid at the academy, and I sat next to him at one of the dinners, and he was saying like, oh look, what shall I do, like blah blah blah. And I said to him, like, do what I did, like just get yourself a Saturday job at estate agents, like on a weekend or whilst you're doing sixth form, whatever, like just do it and you get to learn. It's the experience.
I bet he's super successful now.
Yeah, exactly.
Probably is.
He probably didn't listen to me.
Would you send your kid on the academy?
Yes, yeah, I would.
You have to say that because I'm right here.
Yeah, of course. No,
but I know you would because you told your brother to.
If they wanted to do it, it's just a good way of learning.
And it's got to come from you, hasn't it? As you said, you've got to have that fire. Like your dad helped you, gave you opportunities, but you had the fire. You see people, and sometimes people say, "Oh, you're only rich because your parents," but it's like there's a lot of rich people that have kids and the kids end up on drugs, end up destitute. So it's about taking the cards that you've been dealt in life and then playing to win.
Yeah.
And we have every week I interview somebody on Winners on a Wednesday. Sometimes people were homeless, sometimes they're, footballers, and sometimes they started with money, sometimes they didn't.
Yeah.
It's a mixed, varied bag.
Yeah.
You've just got to find someone that resonates with you and emulate what they've done. What are the biggest things you've learned then over the last year or two since you've been training, doing the academy, restructuring your portfolio?
Well, I've learned a lot about the mortgage side of things, tax side of things, just sort of pre-planning everything. So you have to plan 2 or 3 years ahead, because if you do something, you take out a mortgage on one property, say, it's going to be locked away for 2 or 3 years. You know what I mean? You're going to have early repayment fees. You're going to have all sorts going on. So you have to sort of pre-plan what you want to do now, so then in 2-3 years time you're set up to do that.
How many properties are you buying now? Like over the next 12 months, do you anticipate you'll grow your portfolio?
Yeah, so currently selling the property that we're living in at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm gonna then move into one of the rentals.
Yeah.
Gonna live in there, save on the capital gains tax.
Nice, there we go.
Yeah. And then I'm probably gonna sell that just because it's a 1-bed flat. I've exceeded as much value as I can out of it. And we're going to probably sell that and use the cash from that to potentially buy 2 or 3 more.
And you're a big fan of the buy, refurbish, refinance?
Yeah, pretty much.
Wait for the value to go up or push the value up and then recycle and keep growing that way.
Yeah.
Tax efficient.
Yeah, exactly.
Makes sense.
Exactly.
Because there's no point making a lot of money if you don't keep it.
Yeah.
You know? And if you're going to buy property, it goes up in value and then sell it, you're going to end up giving 28% to the government.
Yeah.
The unwanted business partner.
Yep.
That never did anything.
Yep.
Bit harsh.
Yeah.
Should pay your taxes. But hey, if you can If you can plan properly
Yeah.
to pay, keep as much profit in your pocket, I guess that's ultimately the game, right?
100%.
When you got your own letting agency or estate agency, there's often a lot of benefits to that from a networking and things like that. Did you get any bangers as a result of having your own shop, your own agency?
Yeah. So we actually bought a property from a guy who used to come into the shop all the time. So he used to just pop in and be like, oh, I've got some tenants, 2-bed flat just around the corner. They're giving me aggro, blah, blah, blah. I was thinking of selling it. So he said, yeah, sure, no worries. Like, we'll come around and value it for you. Went round there and we said, like, to him, we're actually interested in it ourselves. Like, we can offer you X amount of money. We'll buy it with tenants in situ. Like, we'll evict them after, so and so on. We'll take it off you. And he was like, oh, perfect. What it was is a block of 5 flats. We was buying a 2-bed flat in the block of flats, which is a shared of freehold. There is 5 flats. One of them's a leasehold, but the other 4 have a shared freehold. So we bought it for 146k, I think it was.
Well, for just the one apartment?
Just the one apartment. Yeah. The lease was, I think it had about 80 years on it. It was going down. So we bought it off him, evicted the tenants, done it up, rented it out. But I said to him as well, because he managed the block. So because we had our management company as well, I said, can you get us sit down with the other owners and pitch that we should manage the property over another company? So I managed the block. I send out all the service charges. I pay the electric bills, all that, etc., etc. So I actually get paid to look after the block, even though I have to pay the service charge myself. I'm getting more money. So basically, service charge is free. We've had it for about 8 years now, 8-9 years. And recently, all the leases needed renewing. So the leasehold downstairs renewed for a premium of 40k to all the freeholders.
Nice.
So we got a share of 10k each. And then it was time for the freeholders to renew their leases. And it only cost us 3.5 grand in solicitor's fees. So now we got it valued 2 months ago and it's 425.
Wow.
Just from a lease renewal.
That's crazy. So it's almost tripled in value.
Literally. Yeah, we've held it for 8 years.
Yeah.
It's been rented out all that time. Rents out 14.25.
So what's the lesson?
You got to talk to everyone. You got to put yourself out there. You don't know, anyone could own anything. Anyone could be in a different situation and try and be a problem solver.
Yeah.
That's what I say my job is, really. I solve problems for people. Like, if it's tenants, people, whatever, there's always a problem that comes up. You just got to solve it to your benefit.
Hey, it's been great hearing your story, and I appreciate you coming on the show. And it's been great working with you. I look forward to helping your brother out as well.
Yeah, cheers. Thank you.
I hope you enjoyed the video, but have you spent one day with me yet at the Property Investors Crash Course? If not, what are you waiting for? Link in bio, tickets are just £1. And if you can't make a physical crash course, we now have a virtual crash course too. I'll see you there.